Cable TV ruined my Christmas. Cable TV ruined my Christmas. Not all of it. Just them channels that lets consumers shop while relaxing on their comfy couch. Oh, sure, it's made buying items a whole lot easier as long as there's funds on your credit card or somebody's credit card. I understand how a viewer can get hooked into watching. With them hosts of theirs who get almost as excited over a battery-operated beard, ear, and nose hair trimmer than a geeky pizza delivery guy invited to bring his hot stuff on in by a member of a drunken sorority party. Not to mention the seemingly endless racks of fashionable clothing and must-have high-tech gadgets which fill the needs and desires of all. I'll be the first to admit that these channels certainly provide a service, especially if you're one of those thousandaires who can afford their lavish lines of luxuries. But for the rest of us common folk, well, I think I can safely say they can kiss us where the sun don't shine, but where we usually find the missing remote control and cordless phone. When I say these broadcasting bastions of beautiful banefulness have put the humbug in the holidays, I know all of y'all just 5 easy payment junkies jump back at me with the words of Hamlet's mama. The lady doth protest a whole bunch. Well, that may be true, but like I said at the top, they've ruined my Christmas. I remember a time when throughout the year you'd listen for the little hints your mama or daddy would drop about things they wish they had. Mama would bring you over a coffee can full of cookies she'd made, and then before leaving, she'd ask you to please return the can, because she ain't got no good containers. Or Daddy would stop by to screw the screen door back on the door frame after your older drunken stripper sister had fallen through during a recent visit, only to yell out in frustration by the third screw how he wished he had a good battery-operated screwdriver. Come Christmas time, you had a mental list of the perfect gifts for those you loved. Although on account of how you'd spotted some stretched jewelry that had been marked way down and would look real good with that new blouse you got in the layaway, you could safely get by, giving them a $3 robe and a $2 pair of house slippers from the flea market. By the end of Christmas Day, everyone felt blessed. All were happy, and the police had only been called over one time. But nowadays, thanks to these shopping shows, that whole thing has been shot to hell and ready. The floral caftan you got for your mama is nice, but it ain't like she's seen that older gal modeling on the TV. Sure, the miniature golf putter and colored balls you got Daddy were okay, but he really had his heart set on the ones they'd showcased from the Andy Dick designer collection. Even when you do wind up spending more on their present than on your own, well, it still ain't what was on the boob tube. Because these cable channels had opened the door to top-notch items that will last longer than half of the next New Year, the words blessed and happy got filed away with a third police warning about how if they gotta come back a fourth time, somebody will be getting the gift of riding in the back seat to the station with them. So yes, Virginia, these channels on cable TV have ruined my Christmas. Trust me when I say that, as harsh as it might sound, if I wasn't illegally hooked into my unwitting neighbor's cable line, I'd call that local provider and demand they put some kind of block on them shop-at-home channels for anyone over the age of 65, or without the signed and handwritten verified consent of their adult children. And they can put that on their TV guide listing and DVR it. this gal who makes the best doggone cheese dip you've ever put in your mouth, which she brings every year to the annual Babel Baptist Association of Baptized Ladies Christmas party we have over at the Holier Than Most Baptist Church, which I attend. Anyways, she ain't got no kind of written down recipe for the divinely inspired dish, but I do know for a fact it takes 5 blocks of Velveeta. Needless to say, I can't control myself when I'm around that dip. And I also know for a fact I suffer for almost a week afterwards, if you catch my drift. Maybe I should say, if you know what I mean. So, last year, I decided to come from a different direction in regard to my dying to eat it all feeling and the prolonged wish to God in heaven I was dying feeling that follows. After all, I do have a brain. I did graduate from the Pangburn Academy of Beauty and Horseshoeing, and I have written a whole series of books, even if they did cause my computer spell check to crash. So I used the good smarts that the Lord had done given me to come up with a solution to this hardening fake cheese challenge. I concluded I could head the whole dilemma off by stopping at the local drugstore and gain some wisdom from a professional. I politely shared my story with the new gal that was working, and after catching her breath, she suggested I try suppositories, which I did on the night of the big shindig. That is to say, I gave it my all. But them things were so big, even after breaking one of them up and a pitcher of sweet tea, I still couldn't manage to get it down. Well, panic-stricken, I did some math using all my fingers and most of my toes. And I came to the conclusion, and I done figured out that if I took 3 times the recommended dosage of the old reliable Dulcolax, when it comes to Velveeta, don't send a boy, I should be fine. The only problem was on my drive to the Christmas party, I ran over some nails these 2 kids had tossed in front of my car, and I got a flat. By the time I got it changed and managed, with a BB gun rifle steadily resting on my driver's side mirror, to track down them 2 little pranksters, it was late. When I got to church, the dip and all the good food was gone. Nothing left but suspended fruit in jello. A long story short, which I know is probably too late by now, at the end of the following 48 hours after the party, I had gotten about 17 minutes of sleep. And that Christmas season, I found a much greater empathy for fashion models. I guess the silver lining to the story is that come New Year's Eve, well, my hands did look a lot thinner. And I had this inner feeling deep inside that anything that might hold me back that next year had just passed out of my life and gone down the river.